Well, today's the big day. I'm gonna install my clock and my barometer. God, I love that sound. That's the chime, and it sounds like a big ship's bell. It's amazing that they can get such a big bell sound in such a small clock. So, if you see my earlier videos on this clock, you can see the chime inside, and because I take it apart. And so it's been a long time coming, but I finally got the clock fixed and I got the barometer working. So today I'm going to mount them on the wall. So it's been several months that I've been dealing with this, and I didn't want to drill any holes in my teak bulkhead if these weren't going to work. So I got both of these for $59 for both on eBay. Got a really good deal, and normally they're $200-300 a piece. And the barometer didn't look like it was working. It was at 28 on the barometric pressure, which would be, you'd be in the eye of a hurricane if that was the case. But I calibrated it and it works great. And I've been testing it with the barometric pressure that's online locally, and it's real accurate. And my clock was not working at all, and I was going to take it all apart and rebuild it and see if I can get it to work. But when I took it apart, started taking it apart, opened it up and looked at it, and found out that if I'd taken it all the way apart, it would have been almost impossible to get it back together right. I would have had to actually, well, I would have filmed it for YouTube, but I also would have had to take still pictures on every step. And even then, if you get one gear and you're past like one tooth over, things may not work out, especially with the chime. And I know that people that work on these clocks don't like to work on them because of the chime mechanism. And somebody had worked on this clock and taken it all apart and put it back together, and they didn't get it back together right. And when I finally got it working, it ran a little bit when I first bought it, but just like a day or so, and then it would stop. And then after a couple more tries, it would run maybe 10 minutes and stop, and I just couldn't get it to work. And I found this little tiny gear that was bent. I mean, it was so slightly bent, and it goes between these forks, so it has these little spokes that stick out, and it's part of this clock and barometer is built in Germany, but the movement has a Swiss movement inside, built in Switzerland. And that Swiss movement, there's this little teeny tiny gear. It's really small, and it's the part where the other gear goes back and forth, tick tock, and so the little tiny gear with the spokes that stick out, they go between this fork, and the fork actually makes that little gear move, and that's what moves the entire clock. And so I noticed it was bent slightly, and I mean, I can't believe I seen it. It would have been pretty much impossible to find, but I just happened to be holding it at just the right angle and looking at it, and I thought, that thing looks a little bent. And when I was able to straighten it out, and when I did, the clock worked. And it stopped on me a couple times, but then it started working great, and it ran for weeks and with no problem. And so my last video, I oiled the clock, so I show how to oil it. And so, like I said, it's been a long time coming to get to this point. And so now I'm going to go ahead and mount the clock and the barometer on the wall. And so hopefully this project's done. I had a problem with the big hand was not lining up when it chimed. Like, it chimes on the 12 and on the 6 when the big hand points to the 12 and 6. And it was a little bit past. So when it would chime, it wasn't right on the 12, and that was driving me nuts. So, and that was because the person that worked on it, when they put it back together, they didn't get it back together right. They were off a little bit. So I figured out a way to fix that. And this is all in my previous videos. I got like 10 of them now. I was hoping just for one video on this project, but it turned into a long project like a lot of my projects do. And I don't like giving up on stuff, so I keep plugging away at it until hopefully I figure it out, and luckily I did this time. So what I did was instead of taking the clock all apart to try to fix that problem with the big hand being in line with the 12 and 6 when the chime would strike, the big hand has a square hole that goes onto the clock. And so what I did was I took a square file, actually I went through a couple of them, and filed that hole and changed the shape of it a little bit, and was able to move the hand. Now it had a little play in it anyway, so I just made it have a little more play. So then when I tightened the big hand down to hold it onto the clock, I just pushed it back a little bit. So now it's really close to the 12 and the 6. It's not perfect, but I can go ahead and mount it now, and in the future I need to get a couple more files, and I can easily take the big hand off without removing the clock from the wall, and I can go ahead and get it perfect. So I'm not going to worry about that now. It's really close, and I can probably live with it the way it is. So what I'm going to do now is I got to drill 3 holes for the clock and 3 holes for the barometer in the wall. And it's teak, and teak's really expensive. It's like an endangered species. It's hard to find. It's hard to find quality teak, and it's super, super expensive. It's unbelievable how expensive teak wood is. So I can't screw it up. I don't want to put holes in my wall that aren't in the right place. This is where the clock and barometer is going to go, right there on the bulkhead next to my painting and my monitor, my sound monitor that I have, speaker. So they're going to go right there on the wooden part there. And so that's where they're going to go. And right next to my Rogue River painting. And that's a Mackenzie style drift boat. It was actually a photograph I took of my brother and 2 people he had, 2 kids in his boat. I kind of made it like it was his kids. He has a son and a daughter. And when I took the photograph, it was actually paying customers. It was other people. But I did this painting. I was river guide in Oregon, and that's one of the rapids. But it's oil painting that I did. So my clock and barometer is going to sit right next to it, and that in between my speaker cabinet here that I built. Still not done with that yet. So that's where they're going to go, and let's see if I can get them in there and do this once and not have to redo it, because I don't want to drill a bunch of holes in this teak wood. It's like I said, it's like an endangered species, and it's very difficult to even find good teak, and very expensive. So most boat builders don't even use it anymore. They use other woods now, so it's just too damn expensive. So at any rate, so that's where they're going to go, and let's see if I can get this camera set up in an area where I can film this. I got a lot of junk in this boat in the way. Okay, I sized the drill bit smaller than the screw, and I put some blue tape on the drill bit so I don't go in too deep. Last thing I want to do is go all the way through the wall. I was looking at this earlier, and as you can see, these are strips of wood. I think you can see that. And so they have beveled edges. So I'm going to put the screws in these bevels. That'll be kind of nice in case I screw it up. At least it won't be right in the main part of the wood. Hopefully it'll hold okay. And it looked to me like the screws, there's 3 screws. So one here, and one here. And then same thing over here with the barometer. So I want to make sure that they're the same distance from this beam here. So the clock's going to be a little bit higher up, and the barometer's going to be a little bit lower down. So they're going to be. So I'm going to use something. This is my microphone case. It holds my microphone that I'm wearing right now. So I think that thickness looks about right. So I'm going to just kind of. Let's see if I can do this and look at it and see what I think. That looks pretty good. I think that's good right there. Now if I can do this without moving it too much, I think. That's drilling. This is not going to be easy. I'm just going to have to start a little pilot hole. Oops, I'm moving it. But let's see how I do here. I'm just going to get it in the slot first and make sure I got it right in the middle of the slot. I wonder if I should go up a little more. I don't want to go all the way up. I think right about there looks good. So I'm just going to start with a little hole. And it's going to be angled because I can't get this drill in there with the clock in the way. But I think, hopefully I'll be able to see that. Yeah. Okay, now I can go straight in. Okay, that's not too evasive. So now I'm going to put the screw in the center first and just let the clock hang by gravity and see how it looks. Okay. How does that look? That looks pretty good. I'm thinking I like that. Okay, now I'm going to do the same for the barometer, and then we'll see how they look. I'm going to have to double check that spacing. So I'm sitting over at my table, and yeah, I can see the clock, I think, good enough from this angle. It's kind of at quite an angle looking at it, but I can still see it good enough. And what's nice, this position here, is I can see it from the galley when I'm cooking. I can also see it from my dinette where I can sit and eat. And I can sit over here on this side of the boat where I sit with my other table down in the saloon, and I can see it from there. And I'll also be able to see it if I leave my companionway doors open while I'm outside sitting at the wheel driving the boat. I'll be able to see the clock and the barometer from outside, which is really cool. So this is in a really good spot. Now I'm going to measure this here and see, and make sure I get the other one in the same distance. Okay, now I'm a little bit high. Let's see if I can find something else that'll fit in there. Okay, now the barometer. And then what I'll have to do is I'll put one screw for the barometer and get it set where it needs to be. And then I'll take a pin or something and mark the other two holes. And then I'll have to take them all down and drill those holes in straight, because I can't drill straight with the clock or the barometer because of this faceplate is big. So I'm gonna have to take it all the way down, drill the other two holes for the clock and the other two holes for the barometer. Then I can put them up and they should be done, permanently installed. And it's looking good. This is a dream of mine. When I was a kid, I dreamt about living on a sailboat. And one of the things I used to fantasize was having a boat with a really cool brass clock and barometer hanging on the bulkhead like this. So it's a dream coming true for me. Okay. And like they say, measure twice and drill once. I don't like things to be crooked or off. I got this eye where I can really notice if things aren't straight, if they're crooked, if they're not aligned properly. And like I've said before in other videos, if somebody else does something, builds something, it's not perfectly straight, it doesn't bother me. But when I do it, when I build something, if it's off a little bit, it drives me nuts. So go figure. I don't know why, but it's just the way I am. So take this here, piece of paper. So I just need to put this here. And oops, don't do that. Put this here. I think if I just get my drill and just drill it. Wait a minute now. How am I? Oh yeah, hey, that line was perfect. I drew. So that was good. The pencil line I put up here turned out to be just right. So I'm just going to go ahead and drill it and put another screw in. It's 430. Hopefully that'll be good. We'll see. Now I got to go straight in. Now all I got to do is screws it down. Okay. Well, it's on the pencil line, so that's good. I'll see if I can line it up with these other cracks. Yep. Okay, looks good there. Okay, now let's see. Let's see how it looks from a distance. Let me double check my measurement. Kind of looks like it's a little low over there. Okay, that's good there. And yep, perfect. Just right. Got it good. Okay. So let's see how that looks. I get back over here and look at it. Oh, look at that. Sweet. Now she's looking like a proper sailing ship. Yep. She's turning into the proper yacht like she should. So yeah, beautiful sight. I love it. So now I just got to do the other 2 screws, and I think I'll have to mark them with a pencil maybe. Wow, look at that. Sweet. I'm loving it. Oh yeah. All right, let me get these other screws in here. Have to move it back a little bit. All right, just enough to make a mark. And enough to make a mark on this side. Can I get to it without falling over? Move it back this way. Okay. Let's see if I can do this here. Looks to me like I might have to take the clock down, get the barometer on first, then do the clock. Because I'm going to be in my way. So now I got to unscrew it. Take it down, and I'll see. Hopefully, don't want to scratch my clock. What they do with these, with brass, a lot of stuff like these clocks and stuff, the brass, is you polish brass. If you don't polish it, it turns green. It'll turn like either a dark, like a black color or a green color. And so what a lot of clock manufacturers do these days, and they do it for oil lamps too that are brass, is they spray lacquer on them, and that way they don't tarnish. So I imagine this has got lacquer sprayed on it, but I'm not sure. But that's a trick to keep them shiny. Okay, I can see those holes that I drilled, so I think I'll be okay. So I'm gonna just set the clock aside, and I'm gonna do the barometer first and get it on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill this hole. The other hole is gonna be difficult because the speaker's kind of in the way. I want to make sure I'm kind of like, this is more or less just to mark it. Man, this is going to be hard. I don't know how if I'm going to get in here. I may just have to measure it. I don't know. That or just try to screw it in without drilling a hole. I've done that before. So let me take this down so I can drill in straight. At least get 2 of the screws in, and then the third one I can see what I can do here. Don't want to lose my screws. I got so much, my boat is so cluttered up with stuff for projects that if I drop anything, I'll never find it. I'm going to drill that second hole in straight. That's right here. And I might be able to just put something straight across. So this worked out really good. the screw holes ended up being in the beveled areas, so I'm not drilling directly into the top flat part of the teak. So yeah, if I were to take these down, which hopefully I won't have to, at least they don't look too bad. So I could probably even fill those holes in and we would never even notice. So now, I don't know how I'm going to do this third one. I don't think I can eyeball it. I think I'm going to have to measure it somehow. I don't know. Let me think about this. I think I can do my aluminum foil trick, or even a piece of paper. So I'm going to make a template with a piece of paper. So I'm going to take just a piece of this paper. It's kind of like 20-pound bond. Actually, it's a little thicker. This is photographic paper that I have, but so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put my barometer on here, and I'm going to poke holes where the screw holes go, and then I can line those two up, and then it'll tell me where the third one needs to go. So hopefully that'll work. Okay, hopefully you can see that. So there's my template. Now I'm going to poke 2 screw holes. I'm going to put 2 screws in here and hold this up there, and then I will know right where to put the final screw, hopefully. So I'm just going to poke a hole through the top screw hole and kind of screw the screw into this paper so it'll just stay in there like that. And I'm going to do another one. Okay, now I just go ahead and screw them into the holes that are already there. There's that one. There's that one. And okay, so that's where the next screw hole needs to go. So I'll just go ahead and risk it and see if I can feel, yeah, it feels like it's right on the gap where it needs to go. So I'm just going to drill it in right here. And hopefully this will work. We'll see. All right, here we go. Make sure it's on there so it don't fall. Last thing I need is it to fall. Okay, so let's get these first 2 screws in and see if the third one goes in where it needs to go. Just got to make sure I do not drop these screws because I will lose them for sure. Yeah, I assume these have lacquer sprayed on them because these clocks, as far as I can tell, they were built in the 1970s. And there was a number on the back pivot plate that said 76, which I'm assuming this clock was built in 1976, this clock and barometer. And I'm having a hard time seeing the slot. And my boat was built in 1975, so that's kind of cool. They're pretty much the same age. And I'm hoping this clock is going to be straight. I didn't really look at it when I had it up. If I do something and it's slightly crooked, it's kind of like a painting hanging on the wall. If it's slightly crooked, it's very noticeable. The clock's heavier than the barometer, and feels like these screws are going in really tight. That's good. Okay, one more screw and they're done, and it looks pretty straight. I think they're good enough. The clock looks a little straighter than the barometer. I don't know if I can move that barometer over. I could probably move it a little bit and re-drill it if I want, but I don't think I'm going to need it to worry about it. I know nobody's going to notice it except for me. Okay, that's it. Okay, it's on tight. Done deal. There it is. My Howard Miller clock and Howard Miller barometer. I've waited a long time for this, and it feels really good. Wow, a dream come true. Finally. I finally got this clock done. And it's been probably like 10 videos now that I've done. And I'm ready to move on to other projects. But it's definitely a childhood dream come true to be able to see a brass clock and barometer hanging on the bulkhead of my sailboat. I dreamt about this since I was a kid, owning and living on a sailboat. And one of my dreams was just having a really cool clock and barometer on the wall. So that's what I got now. And so if you found this video to be helpful or entertaining, please like and subscribe.